good day to you, Guyana, and welcome to another edition of Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for joining me again this week. Before I go any further on the program, I know last week I did promise you that this week we'll be focusing on the health sector. We still are a bit later on in the program. In the second half of our program, we'll be focusing on the health sector, but not from the point of the Minister of Public Health. We know that he owes us a visit. He's still going to come and talk about the state of the health sector and so on, but unfortunately he was called out of the jurisdiction again on, of course, official government business. So we're hoping that we can have him on next week. So we apologize for not fully focusing on health this week. The second half of the program will, however, be talking about the Food and Drug Analyst Department. We'll have the director from that department coming on, so you'll get some idea about how that functions and so on. I decided to do that because we don't know how all our agencies function, the purpose and so on of our agencies. But in the first half of our program, we're dealing with an issue that keeps taking away from our society, and it's leaving us hurt and you know, as we speak, there is a family in Linden. They're preparing to bury two boys, a mother and a father, and of course a sister. They're going to bury two boys tomorrow. And of course, this is a result of the fact that people are not listening. You continue to speed on our roadways. You continue to be careless, absent-minded, and so on. So the first half of our program is going to be focusing on traffic issues, do's and don'ts, the problems, how we're going to fix those problems. And I'm happy to say that I have a full and experienced panel to deal with those issues. One of them, she's no stranger to this program, so she's returning. And coincidentally, it's almost a year since she's last been on this program. I think it was last November, so we're just a month. She's a month earlier. Last November, she was here for Road Safety Month. But we thought it fit to have her on earlier, and of course the two gentlemen she's accompanied by. So I'll first start by welcoming back Miss Ramona Doergen. Of course, as you know, Ramona is the coordinator for the why are my words running away from me? The Guyana National Road Safety Council. Ramona Doergen is the coordinator. Welcome back to Facing the Nation, Ramona.
Thank you, Malika.
All right, great to have you back. I'm happy that you're happy, even though it's not under the best of circumstances. Also joining Ramona today is, of course, to my immediate right, Mr. Dennis Pompey. He is the chairman of the Guyana National Road Safety Council. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, great to have you.
Me on your program.
Wonderful to have you. And we cannot do this without having the law enforcement. Superintendent Ramesh Ashram is on the program today, and he'll be giving us basically an update on Operation Safeway, and he'll be talking to you and trying to reinforce some of the things that we should be doing on our roads and some of the things that we should not be doing on our roads. I want to start off with you, Ramona, not only because in terms of the guest, she's a lone woman. Because I know you do a lot of work, not only in November, the council, but at this point, what are your sentiments, your thoughts on what's happening on our roads? We basically have not only the accidents, but the deaths. It's, you know, and it's leaving us really hurt and bent and twisted. Let's talk about what the Road Safety Council is doing at this point, at this time.
First of all, I must say thank you, Malika, again for having me here. And I want to say our condolences to all the families that lose your loved ones on the roadway. The Road Safety Council always say that every death is too much for us, for our country, for our people. We do not want to have to face any grieving because of death, whether it's our family, whether it's somebody else's family. We should always remember we are all Guyanese, and every death should be knocking at our door as Guyanese people. The National Road Safety Council continues to work with the Guyana Police Force, and we continue to advise the Ministry of Public Security on matters of retraining of drivers. We continue to propose to the minister retraining of drivers, added enforcement campaigns, complementary campaigns to the Operation Safeway. The Guyana National Road Safety Council realized that the police alone cannot reduce deaths on the roadway. When you talk about road safety, you talk about 4 E's: education, enforcement, engineering, and emergency measures, and they all have to go hand in hand. Like you have a computer, you can't work the computer alone without the monitor. The keyboard can't work without the monitor or the CPU. We need all three, and it's the same thing with the 4 E's. So while Operation Safeway is going on, and for it to be as sustained and effective as it was in 2008, we must complement it with the other aspects of the other E's. Engineering, we must have more infrastructure in place. We must have more lighting in areas that needed to be light. We must have more pedestrian crossings, places for persons to walk, more education programs like this one that you're having here now, and a lot more.
Okay, all right. Great, Ramona. And I know you have a special project that we're going to talk about a little later on. Viewers, for those of you who follow me on social media and you usually look forward to my updates on who's coming on today, let me apologize. We were scheduled to have the traffic chief himself, Mr. Dion Moore, but unfortunately, you know how these things work. He was called away at last minute to deal with another matter that is engaging his attention. Again, before I come to the person who is in his place today, Superintendent Ashram, let's talk to you a bit, Mr. Pompey. One of the things that Ramona mentioned is the possible retraining of drivers. Do you believe that I mean, the superintendent would come in here in terms of the process and how that would work, but do you actually believe that would work, or would people just see it as an inconvenience?
I feel it would work. What we have happening in our roads, not only the drivers, the pedestrians, is indiscipline.
Okay.
And we need to have training programs so we could see if we could drive this indiscipline out of person and get them to adhere to whatever the rules and regulations are for the use of road. On my way to this press conference, I saw pedestrians are not adhering to the traffic lights. They're not adhering. When the traffic lights are on for the vehicle to move, pedestrians keep walking across. And some drivers don't have the common courtesy to ease and allow them to pass. And at the same time, when pedestrians have the walkway, the drivers also try to bully themselves. I feel training is important. It is very important, and we should continue to train until we could get best results of our training.
Okay, all right. Great. Again, before I come to the superintendent, Ramona, as Mr. Pompey gave his experience about what was happening on his way here, I had an experience too, and this has to do with school children. Now, it's a case where the light changed from red to green. Now, clearly, these children are not informed. These young ones are not informed because they were on the pedestrian, which is good. They know that they have to walk on the pedestrian. But then the light for drivers changed, and the vehicle in front of me almost hit one of them. So, do you have a plan to go back into the schools? And this is not necessarily in terms of the police arm of it, but your arm, the council.
Okay. Yes. We reviewed most of the schools, and we know that. We're having the police have lectures monthly to the schools because out of reports that we got from the police traffic department, they do have lectures in the schools on a monthly basis in different areas, and they also our associations also have training on a monthly basis along with the police force. What we did is that we reviewed the schools, and we see that we need a little bit more up training for them. And through the Ministry of Public Infrastructure Fourth Road Project, there was a component that had road safety education for schools, and we now have road safety in the curriculum of the schools. What we're going to be doing, we actually started to talk with the Minister of Education on hyping the road safety education in the school, because apparently it's not taught as we would like it to be taught. We want it to be in a massive way. We wanted you to use it in mathematics. We wanted you to use it in physics. We wanted to use it in social studies. And with these things, don't only wait on Road Safety Month to do it. We want you to teach your children, just like how you ask them to pray in the morning before you come out to school, before you start the school day. Teach them the curb drill. Look right, look left, look right again when the road is clear. You walk quickly across. Teach them the curb drill. Before you leave in the afternoon. The brain is made up of such a way, the mind is made up of such a way, the last thing you hear before you come out to the schoolyard, that is what is going to be in your head until you reach home. So if you teach these children the curb drill just before they leave in the afternoon, after prayers or before prayers or after prayers, you just let them recite the curb drill before they leave the classroom. They will have that in their head. So as soon as they meet, they're going to say, oh, I have to get a pedestrian crossing. And when they meet the pedestrian crossing, now they're going to say, oh, I have to look right, look left. And they will be singing that in their head all the time. So those are things we are asking the Ministry of Education to make it mandatory in the schools.
And I really hope that they take your advice, on that, because, we really need to not only save our people in general, but children especially. Superintendent Ashram, I have to get straight to it. Operation Safeway was launched a few weeks ago. It's basically to curb, to stop, or to reduce at least what's happening on our roads. Operation Safeway, however, is coming in for some serious criticisms because people feel that the goals are not being achieved. Give me an update or the position. Where is Operation Safeway really at this point in terms of success rate?
Thanks, Malika.
You're welcome.
Operation Safeway was launched on the 15th of September this year, and that was as a result of an increase in accidents in all categories of accidents, fatal countrywide. Since Operation Safeway, there is a 24-hour mobile and foot patrol throughout the country. That is traffic patrol. With the Safeway, we do random breathalyzer tests for alcohol, driver's alcohol, and speeding exercise on a daily basis, notwithstanding our offenses. When we look at the period Safeway, the same period last year to date, we had 9 accidents last year from the 15th of September to date. That is fatal accident, and the same period to this year, 5. So we have a decrease by 44. So Safeway is working. For the period, 15th of September to date, we have made 4,250 cases. Out of these cases, 1,371 were for speeding. We have also tested 1,863 persons for alcohol. We test everybody and we make records, who is above and who is below. Out of the total tests, 274 persons were found above the limit, and they were prosecuted and placed before the court.
Okay.
And this was during the afternoon period and most in the night.
In the night. All right. I appreciate that. Those figures, they're good. I know that is what you do, and that has to be done. One of the things you talked about, and viewers, this is just to get to the bottom of it because we're losing loved ones. It's not about attacking anyone. But one of the things you talked about is the 24-hour patrol. Again, I myself have experienced this. Residents might argue, okay, where is Operation Safeway the 24-hour period? I can give you a perfect example. Let's say between the hours of maybe 7 and 10 or 7 and 11 at night. You try driving maybe, let's say, from I think we call it the line top area, right, all the way going up to the Demerara Harbor Bridge, using that one route, Mandela Avenue, coming right around. Not a single police officer has been in sight in the last 2 weeks.
In the night, you wouldn't find police on foot. The patrol on the East Bank and around Ashram, one leave Timiri at 6, and one leave Ashram at 6. And there's a crisscross patrol. So sometimes the time that you pass or other person pass, you won't see the thing. It's a mobile patrol. We're driving at patrol speed 30 miles.
Okay, so it's not a case where they're stopped or stationary.
I could tell you last week, Saturday, a senior officer called me before saying, he's monkey, not saying patrol. And I told him it's not a static patrol, it's a mobile patrol. And within 5 minutes, he called me and said, oh yes, but you see 2 cars passing each other. So you won't find the patrol at a target place, or as I say, we're doing the breathalyzer tests randomly. We are not targeting people.
Okay.
Randomly, as we observe drivers, the way they drive and so on, and then we stop and do case.
While all of this is happening, even before the launch of Operation Safeway, do those regular roadblocks fit into this operation? Is it a part or is it still separate?
The roadblocks mainly is anti-crime purpose. It's not really to traffic offense. They have been instructed not to stop and check vehicles for documents and so on.
Okay.
Or crime, mainly anti-crime patrol is criminal activity. They look suspicious vehicle, they stop one vehicle, pull it to the corner road and deal with that person.
Okay, all right.
They are not really part of Safeway, but notwithstanding, if a driver commit themselves, they could take action.
Okay, great, understood. All right, sir. Mr. Pompey, let me just pull you back in here. What are your thoughts on all of this? Operation Safeway. I mean, and again, this is viewers. This is all about finding a solution to this problem. What else you think can be done in terms of strengthening the Guyana police force when it comes to not only Operation Safeway but general traffic issues and so on?
I feel that we need the public to give us some information as to what is happening at various hours in the various areas. For example, last Sunday I was at Timir, and at the junction, the Linden Suits, like Highway Junction, that shop over there, I left Timir about 10, and there was a build-up of vehicles there. Persons were imbibing in alcohol. And quite truthfully, there was no police around. I think we need to do some work there. We need people to go and talk to these people, even talk to the owner of the shops around there that sells the alcohol and these things. Let them know that they should not encourage this type of behavior.
Okay, Superintendent Ashram, is there a way the police can do that? I mean, and this is the curfew aside and all of that. Is there a way that the police can get involved and maybe ask shop owners? And you of yourself should take it upon yourself. If you see somebody imbibing as a shop owner, try and find out how they're getting home. I'm not saying leave everything that you're doing and they become your patient, but we need to put measures in place like taking away somebody's keys, hide the keys, find a way to call a family or friend. How can the police help in that?
We could talk to them. But then you got to look at it that person who is the owner for the liquor restaurant, they
making money.
Making money. And if you look at every event in this country now, is alcohol. All the religious event is alcohol. Everybody looking to make a raise. The thing in this country, people need to change their attitude. I could tell you I used to be on the East Bank every morning, Ramona could bear me out. And when you start up at the school, the crossing is here, the teacher and the student crossing there. Yesterday morning, I did a superintendent.
Walking in the traffic.
Talk to 3 little girls. About 20 at the crossing, we stop across 3 playing for the road. You know what I'm saying? Why y'all go along y'all way? At Houston School. No teacher is there. When I was on the East Coast, I went to the school, we share these road safety belt and a stop sign. I go to the school, we teach them for 2 weeks and things. I observe at the part of the school, no persons out there. I go into the headmistress. I said, Madam, we can't get police to be at all the school. You will have to get these teachers to be with the student in the period. You know what that headmistress tell me? So school is called and the teacher don't be school as yet. So sometimes it leaves you to know these education program of people are listening to it. It making sense. We have to address the problem if it making sense. The teachers in the school cannot have no control of the students. On a given day.
Understood. Ramona, you wanted to make a point?
Yes, I would like to say that is why we're asking the Ministry of Education to get involved seriously in road safety. We don't think they are serious about road safety in the Ministry of Education. Because why we're saying this is because you need to get it mandatory in the schools. Let the teachers know that they have road safety patrols and they need to bring them out. Because we don't only give them, we spend a lot of money, sponsors spend a lot of money, international agencies spend a lot of money on these equipment that we give to them. The police take time, we go to train them, we take them on the road, we do the actual training, we do everything with them. All they need to do is come out and do the actual work. And unless the Ministry of Education don't make it mandatory for them to bring these children out and let the patrol start working, they're not coming out. And the National Road Safety Council have a list of, we almost cover all the schools in the country. Almost all in the country. We're talking Lethem, Bartica, Essequibo, almost all the schools in the country we cover with training. And we the police, anytime we go with to them, they give the numbers and say, you can call us on us anytime to have this training retrain. And they don't call, they're not interested. So we need to have the ministry, unless the Ministry of Education gets involved and make it mandatory for them to have road safety clubs and road safety patrols in the school, then only then it will work. Okay. And the other thing what I want to say about the people and the bar owners.
Yes.
You know, it might sound funny, but I always said it. And I said it at elections time, and I'm going to say it again. If you have people that drink in and come in and support you and buying from you all the time, if that person die on the roadway, is one person less as a customer. So you need to think like that, and that's what I was telling the politicians. If the people die out on the road, who can vote for you? So we have to be serious in what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And the bar owners also have to think about that. This is my main customer. I got to keep him safe because I want him to come back and buy again. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. So the onus is on us, the people. You leave in the house in the morning, look, and you're kissing your wife, and yet you're still going to speed on the road. You kiss your wife because you're telling you're coming back this afternoon. Mm-hmm. You know? So the onus is on us. I was writing a few things that the minister we had proposed to the minister, like temporary suspension of driver's license if you're being caught drinking on a certain limit, and speeding and texting and things like that. And while I was writing it, you know, it was so sad that you got the police and the government have to put these things in place
for you
to save your own lives.
Agreed.
You know,
Agreed.
Come on, we got to wake up. We got to know that this is serious business. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Not because it's the boys in Linden parents suffering today. Mm-hmm. It could be me. It could be you.
Any one of us. Indeed.
So we need to get serious. Road safety is everybody's responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Superintendent, one of the things that Ramona talked about earlier is the retraining of drivers. How easy or how difficult would it be to get that done?
It's a task we have, is work in progress, but it's necessary to retrain some drivers. And to bring to the viewers' attention, since Safeway, we have 5 fatal accidents, and all 5 occurred during the bright daylight. None in the night. The one at Friendship, police was on the entire route. I could say that from Assistant Commissioner Administration and myself, the commander, all we was at East Bank. Right through. He chose to speed, go around the turn, hit the rail, and end up hitting the truck. 2 young men responsible, 27 and 28. The rain just began to fall.
So, but this tells a different story because, and I did say this last week, that regardless of how much we blame, we criticize, we abuse, we cuss Operation Safe, where we abuse the Minister of Public Security, because in Guyana, come on, let's face it, this politics, that's our go-to. We always go straight to the minister, regardless of how much we do that. If you are not taking care of yourself, what happens? But then the story that it also tells, Superintendent, is that how much respect do our citizens have for law enforcement? Because if you're on a road and you know there's a patrol, it's human nature. If you see a police, you're going to go slower than you would usually go, even if you're not going ridiculously fast. And you're on roads and you're seeing these patrols and you're still not doing what you're supposed to. What does it say? And, you know, how can well, in this case we're talking traffic, how can you try to build a relationship with citizens using the roads, you know, in general? Is there a way that you believe that can be done?
On all our program, educational program, we advise person who, if you see a breach commit and so on sometime on a weekly basis, myself and the commander, mistaken, we run at the park, advise driver the right way, what to do and so on. But persons just bend, a few just bend to do things. Sometimes you get drivers that we put before the court, one time 30 charges. And these, as recent as last week, one of them paid 205,000 fine. 201 day you are court and the month. So where, I don't know.
Well,
But
Go
that's the
ahead.
seriousness of it
No, I'm not
alone. If
cutting
you
you
get
there.
30 charges, why you still driving?
Driving,
Well,
exactly. And I'm going to
no,
come to
that's
that
serious.
point just now, Ramona.
that
Go
is
ahead.
one of the reasons why we are suggesting to the Minister of Public Security that we should have temporary suspension of license
No.
when a person has committed so many offenses.
When you look at
And
it,
besides that,
right,
if the license is suspended for 1, 2, 3 months, depending on the magnitude of the charges and offenses, he must go back and do a test to see whether or not he maintains his competence to drive.
that is so true. But when you look at the obstruction or just fail to conform to the sign, it's 5,000. And a man driving drink under the influence is 7,500. The fine is 7,500.
Should it be raised? Should it be
The
We're
increased?
advocating for it to
We
be
advocating
increased.
for all those things to happen.
This is looking
The
at it.
legislation and the person, Ramona, you know, Mr. Pompey, you know, years we at 18 to last year, 37 more offense to be at the ticket book. We do the thing, it gone straight to this side and up to now.
All right. Before, again, I still want Ramona to talk about her grand idea. And, you know, we were talking before we went on camera. But, Mr. Pompey, let's talk about some of the things that you really are advocating for. You did say that raising it is one of the things.
Yes, we are advocating, as I said earlier, for suspension of license for persons who commit offense like speeding, driving under the influence of alcohol, texting and driving, which is very serious. People don't see it. Those are some of the offenses that we are asking. We would be asking for license to be suspended for temporary suspension, and also ask that the drivers go back for training, because we said earlier, the traffic officer was saying, it's very difficult to get drivers to be retrained unless we put something in the system that say you must do a refresher training.
And saying that you're expired, you can't have a license.
Apart from that, we need to also do medical examination for some of our drivers. We must do eye tests. There are some persons who are licensed to drive, can't drive in the night at all. And they find themselves driving and making errors and then put other people's lives in danger. While we are on that with lights, there are some vehicles that have lights that are not supposed to be fitted on vehicles.
Yes.
That is a very serious problem, and we need to address those problems. Right? What I would like to do on behalf of the Ministry of Public Security is to give some numbers. We had a Crime Stopper program.
Yes.
And we want to issue these numbers back so that they could pass the information to the ministry. The number for the Crime Stopper program is 623-6068. We have the email address, crimestoppergy@gmail.com. Any information and photograph you could pass to the ministry. And also you could get us either on WhatsApp or what's the other?
Facebook.
Right. You could get us there so that we could pass these information swiftly so that action could be taken.
All right, great.
Right.
You mentioned something that it's interesting, and I'm really happy that you mentioned it, Superintendent, the lights on the vehicles. Now, I've heard the argument. I've honestly had a conversation with an actual police officer who said to me that some of these vehicles come in like that, and sometimes when you stop people, they argue that, look, Guyana don't make vehicles, I gotta buy the vehicle from somewhere, and if it come like the way you want, I do. I had an experience driving behind someone. His hazard lights were on, you know, but you could not see the hazard light because of all of the dancing fairy light looking things. Again, how do you deal with
Something
that?
you feel is an aircraft.
Right.
You don't know why it's
I
not
can't
the
tell
road
whether
of
he's going
aircraft.
right or left because of all these dancing lights around it.
With these LED lights, recently, some lights like these thing, we started to strip vehicle it. But the law in Guyana said that a vehicle must carry at least 2 white lights to the front. And these lights are white light.
No, I don't agree with that.
No, the
I don't agree with
legislation,
that.
but
I don't agree with that.
what we are doing,
I don't agree with that.
we are taking away the light, revoke the fitness. When we take action, we have to get the legislation, the law to support it. what you find most vehicles, they come for fitness, they come clean, and when they get the fitness, they go back and they decorate it again. I could tell, for example, I stripped a wagon car just before Lenora, this car and bike thing. And the car was with cars over church, we strip all the tint and this and that. And you know, overnight, these people that are working and go Lenora with the same car.
My own view of that. If that is happening, you revoke the fitness. And we have to continue doing it.
Yeah,
because if you do it
get
at
a
one
solution.
time and the man continue, and you leave it like that, you're sending a wrong message to the people out there.
Because then is when superintendent, and again, this is not to come at you, because then is when you hear things, and again, these are things that we're experiencing every day, because then you will hear a Guyanese would say, well, you know, a policeman, he paid the policeman and he could put on the lights. Again, this now causes the force to look bad.
Yeah.
Some, I wouldn't deny it. Mm-hmm. But most that come with fitness, mm-hmm. I could tell you, we strip them, we give the requirements, they come. Let me deal with tint. Yesterday we stripped 28 or 27 vehicle tints. Oh. And this morning, one the same vehicle, we bring it back. 6:30 this morning at Camp Street, I don't know, and I see. When he spot me, he wind down the window. So I pull up to yourself, take off the window.
I think
he put it on back.
But
it's a continued thing. If you look at the stats and about the case we work, it's an ongoing program. It's an ongoing. The police carry out enforcement every day. And I wouldn't despite that some police might turn a blind eye on friends and so on. But is offense we see commit, we take action on a daily basis. It leave, as I said earlier, the general public is a need to adhere to the rules, the laws of Guyana as it relates to traffic, mm-hmm. and change the attitude and cooperate.
Let's hope that in soon time that would come. Mr. Pompey, you wanted to make a point.
I was listening to the tint
mm-hmm.
Discussion. It makes the Minister of Public Security look real bad when persons use their tint and complaints are made. What we find happening with tints, the ministry might approve a percentage of tint per vehicle. And then persons have that approval, go and put on a darker tint on the vehicle. So it's something we have to look and examine and see how best we could deal with it. And I feel, again, we would have to write on that if somebody tried to modify or to change the tint or restrict the visibility of the vehicle, we should not give that person tint anymore.
Okay, yeah, abandon for life.
Yeah, you finish with that. So we have to look at this thing seriously, because life does not have a reset button. We have to understand that.
Mm-hmm. You can't spray over it, like when you fix a dent in the car and spray it over.
So we need to take these things seriously. And to make road safety work, it calls for the effort of each and everyone. The Parent-Teacher Association, the NGOs, you have parents, the churches, all of these entities will have to come together and assist with making our roads safer.
All right.
There's a lot of indiscipline going on that we need to rectify.
Indeed. Viewers, I have to, in a moment, because this discussion is really big, I'll begin to wrap my conversation with these very informative people very soon. But before I do that, Ramona, you talked about a very big project, a very big idea that you have, and I am loving it. And yes, it's a challenge, but I am loving it, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to talk about now. Of course, viewers, this project is the way in which she believes that we can really and truly reduce not only road deaths but accidents in general on our roadways.
Okay, thank you, Malika. Malika is excited about this program.
Yes.
But this program, we need to have all the stakeholders involved. What we're talking about a complementary campaign to the Zero Tolerance campaign. Mm-hmm. We know that the police is doing the Zero Tolerance campaign, and we want to complement it, because we feel that having the police out there alone working, the earlier conversation, we said that people don't have much respect for law and order, mm-hmm. and so we want to bring that respect back. And we were talking about, we were looking at other countries' best practices and things that work for other countries. And what we found is that there's a campaign that they call it White Night campaign, where they have important persons come out on the campaign. There's a roadblock. And you have importance like the Minister of Public Security will be on that roadblock, the Commissioner of Police, important persons, CEOs of companies and so. We'll have this campaign throughout the country. We have Essequibo, Borbis, everybody going to be taking part in this campaign. The reason they call it the White Night, because no policeman will be sleeping that night, traffic police. So they will be out on the road. And we have the media involved also. So the media now will be there, and you will be you will see exactly what is going on, how the people is being stopped. We'll have interaction with the people, talking about them, giving them education. But the best part of the campaign is that we will publicize the campaign beforehand. We will put it on the media, we put it on the radio, in the TV, and we will say, look, the police is going to have a roadblock on Sheriff Street between this road and that road at 1 o'clock in the morning. And these are the persons going to be out on this campaign. You'll have civilians plus you have police. So the essence of the campaign is that the people, when those who want to drink, they're going to say, man, the police going to be out, so I can stay home tonight. I ain't going to bother drink. And then those who really want to drink, they say, no, what I mean, if the police harass me tonight, I'm going to take a taxi. So that's what we want them to do. And we think that is going to encourage them, that is going to help to reduce accidents.
Right, so in essence, it's not really to catch anybody or to trap anybody.
But if we catch you drinking and drive, when we breathalyze you, that now we ask you to take part in it, whether you drink or not, we ask you to take part in the breathalyze. If you're over the limit, you will be charged, indeed. But what we're saying is that we encourage persons to don't drink and drive, designate a driver, and we're telling you beforehand, this is where the police is going to be. And there's no diversion from it. Because you're going to have prominent persons out there that is going to be out there. You're going to have the media out there, all the different locations. So we think that will help to reduce accidents.
Yeah, it would, because, and you know, viewers, the interesting thing is Ramona and I were speaking before, and my concern was that, but when you do this, you're basically telling them so they can stay off. But then she's right. The point is to get them to not do what they're doing. How long you think a campaign like this would be required, the length of time in terms of days or nights or so on?
Okay, what we do in Malika, we're going to talk, we already started collecting data from the police. We broke it down we broke it down week by week. So what we're going to be doing now, we're going to measure the campaign. We're going to see where we were at before the campaign started in November. We want to start from the first week in November, because we have 4 weeks in November. So every week in November, we're going to do a campaign like that. And we're going to see how it worked at the end, if there were no deaths, if there was a reduction, and how it worked. We're going to measure it. And if it worked, then we will advise and ask the ministry to have the police do it once a month or 2 times a month on a continuous basis.
Okay, Superintendent Ashram, you think this is something that can see results?
Yeah, everything should put to test, and this is the result.
I like that.
Everything you have to test your strength to see how strong it is.
Okay, great. One thing that slipped me to ask you about is, because when we talk about traffic accidents, we more or less, we always talk about the drivers and the drinking and driving and so on. Cyclists, have you, during Operation Safeway, have you been able to, detained might be a strong word, but apprehend, again, another strong word, cyclists who are riding, because you see this almost every night, they're riding, the bicycle has no light, so if your eyes aren't good and it's dark, you're not seeing them moving, and then they just dash. The color clothing, and they dash in front of you. Have you been able to restrict the cyclists?
Malika, if Mr. Pompey would bear me out, all the stations, all the stations in this country fill to capacity with bicycle and motorcycle. My storeroom, if you open the door, you got to run because all the cycle can follow you. Breakdown alone get over 1,000 bicycles.
On a related topic, helmets. there are some parents who ride. They believe that if it's okay if they're wearing a helmet because they're the rider. And I see it every day. Again, these are things you see every day. Sometimes one man might have 2 or 3 children. And I understand life is difficult. He got to get those children to school, but then he with the helmet and none of the children not wearing helmets.
But Malika, remember these people are only doing this thing because the police can charge them. The people are not doing it because if they have an accident, they might not. What they don't understand, it mightn't be an accident. It might be a marabunta fly and sting her on her foot, and they happen to fall off. To
fall off, yes.
These are things where we need to push. That's why we want massive media campaigns to help these people to understand. You hear? That's what we learned when we were doing doing the curriculum for road safety. That's one of the things that we learned. That we keep telling them, don't do this, don't do this. We have to help them to understand why you should do this. Okay. Because when you look at the people riding, you can see it's a family. Not that they can't afford to put another helmet on the kid or whatever. They are only wearing the helmet because the police can see the 2 persons and they're doing it for the police. And if we get them to understand the seriousness of it, of the children not wearing the helmet or the person, because plenty of times I'd pass a boy and a girl on the bike and he have on her bike his helmet and she would hold on to him so tight. And I say, but he don't love you. Because he have one helmet, she don't.
Exactly, Ramona is definitely keeping it real. Viewers, I definitely have to wrap up my conversation with this team now. But I can tell you this is not the last of them. They'll be here again and again, and especially with this idea that is coming from Ramona and the entire council of itself. Of course, I keep you saying Ramona, point person, woman power here, and I know the gentlemen will forgive me for that. But we'll definitely have, if not Ramona herself, if not Mr. Pompey himself, if not Superintendent Ashram, persons not only from the Road Safety Council, but also from the Guyana Police Force. Because again, this is everybody's business. This cuts across everything: race, politics, religion, everything. This is about saving our lives. So I want to take this opportunity to thank very much Superintendent Ramesh Ashram, the coordinator of the Road Safety Council, Ramona Doergen, and of course the chairman of the Road Safety Council, Mr. Pompey. And again, I promise to have, if not them, representatives, and we're going to keep talking about the importance of road safety. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much.
Thank you for having us.
All right, viewers, this is Facing the Nation. Stay tuned. On the other side of this very short break, I'll be chatting with the director of the Food and Drug Analyst Department, Mr. Marlon Cole. This is Facing the Nation.